Namaste and welcome, dosto. Today we've got a really special explainer lined up for you. Honestly, think of this as your personal toolkit, absolutely packed with elite Harvard MBA concepts, but tailored specifically for your long-term career growth. Whether you're still sitting in a university lecture hall or just stepping foot into the professional world, this masterclass is designed to completely flip the way you look at your future. So, let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive right in. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. If you're somewhere between 18 and 25 years old right now, consider this your ultimate playbook. We're going to speed through some seriously actionable career hacks, from the career capital formula and nailing that crucial first job, to networking, decision-making, negotiation, and wrapping it all up with a solid long-term career roadmap.
So let's kick things off with our very first concept, the career capital formula.
Growing up in Indian society, we're basically hardwired to think that your marks or your technical skills are the only things that dictate success. But honestly, the real business world doesn't operate like an exam paper. Dosto, career capital का simple formula है. It is literally the ultimate equation for professional acceleration. Real career growth means combining multiple types of capital. It's not just what you know, it's who you know. And maybe, most importantly, what people say about you the second you leave the room.
Think of it as a house held up by three main pillars: intellectual, social, and brand. Look, in today's world, AI can spit out facts in literally a second. So your competitive edge isn't just knowing stuff anymore. Your intellectual capital is how you actually apply that knowledge, like taking basic code and turning it into a profitable app. Then you have social capital, which is your network. Basically, kaun aapko refer kar sakta hai? Who is willing to write you a check or put their neck on the line for you? And finally, brand capital. Imagine the big bosses are sitting around a table picking a team lead for a massive new project. Does your reputation do the talking for you? Building that kind of trust accelerates your career way faster than just keeping your head down at your desk.
Now, what's genuinely fascinating is how this applies to landing that very first job.
Look at this massive number right here, 3.5 crores. No, this isn't a lottery jackpot. This is exactly why your first job out of university is mathematically so crucial. This number is the lifetime financial difference caused by just a tiny bump in your starting salary right out of college. Let me break down the math for you.
So let's look at the incredible story of compounding salaries. अगर आप अपना career 15 लाख से start करते हो and your friend starts at 20 lakhs, and let's say you both get a standard 12% increment every single year for 20 years. Do you know what happens? एक छोटा सा 5 lakh का difference in the beginning compounds into a massive 3.5 crore gap after 2 decades. ये power है compounding की. This is concrete proof of why investing in the absolute best education to secure a high-impact first job pays off tremendously over your lifetime.
Alright, so how do you actually secure that high-impact first job, especially if you're 18 to 20 years old right now? Consider this an inside secret from a mentor. Step 1. Invest in a top-tier education. A top university brand acts like a massive filter. It basically guarantees your resume gets plucked out of a pile of thousands. Step 2. Focus intensely on applying your knowledge to real-world projects. That's your intellectual capital in action. And Step 3. Optimize for the highest base salary you can get early on, purely to trigger that exact 3.5 course compounding snowball we just talked about.
Moving right along. Once you have the job, we need to talk about building your network.
Be honest for a second. How many venture capitalists or industry leaders do you actually know personally? Let's talk about strong versus weak ties. Strong ties are your close friends. ये वो लोग हैं जिन्हें आप रात के 3 बजे call कर सकते हो if you're in trouble. They are fantastic for emotional support. But weak ties? Those are the acquaintances outside your immediate circle. Imagine chatting with some random marketing guy at a coffee shop, and he casually mentions his company's looking for a lead engineer before the job is even posted online. That right there is a weak tie handing you a breakthrough opportunity. They bring you brand new information before the rest of the world knows.
So if you are at university right now, please listen up, because here is your roadmap. Step 1. Do not just go back to your room after class or work. You have to get out there. Go attend startup events, visit incubators, crash meetups for totally different industries. You need to deliberately cultivate those weak ties outside of your comfort zone. If you're an engineering student, go hang out with the finance folks. You have to build this web proactively because, trust me, no one else is going to build it for you. Start doing this weekend.
All right, let's shake things up a bit. We're going to play a game.
This is an actual, highly interactive exercise pulled straight from a Harvard decision-making class. I want you to play along. Here's the question. How many McDonald's stores are there in the entire world? I want you to guess right now. Come on, think of a number or say it out loud.
Okay,
What did you guess? 10,000? Maybe 50,000? Here is the trick. Almost everyone guesses a wrong fixed number. Why didn't you just say, well, it's somewhere between 0 and 10 million? If you had just given a ridiculously broad range, you would have been 100% correct. But here's the psychology behind it. Human beings absolutely hate admitting when they don't know the answer. We completely fail to express our ignorance through a range. The big takeaway here is perfectly captured in this quote. The very first step for better decision-making is just knowing what you don't know. जब आप admit करते हो कि आपको नहीं पता, you instantly drop your ego. Acknowledging your own ignorance opens the door to seek out diverse, expert opinions, instead of just stubbornly relying on your own flawed biases. Guys, this is a literal superpower in the business world. And you know, dropping that ego and asking questions is exactly what you need for our next topic, mastering negotiation.
Let's look at some core Harvard negotiation frameworks. First up is anchoring. This is a very common tactic where you intentionally make the first offer just to set the baseline expectation in the room. If you're negotiating and price is literally the only issue on the table, you should almost always go first to anchor that price. But let's be real. Real-world negotiations are rarely just about price, right?
And that brings us to a massive concept, position versus interest. Your position is your stubborn stance. It's saying, I will never sell this house at any price. But your interest, that's the underlying reason why. Let's say your childhood dog is buried in the backyard and you just want to protect that memory. If a buyer comes in and only argues about the price, the deal is dead. But if they ask open-ended questions, figure out your true interest and say, hey, what if we write into the contract that you have lifetime access to visit the grave? Suddenly, you have a deal. Positional arguments block deals, understanding interest unlocks them. एक अच्छा negotiator हमेशा interest ढूंढता है.
Two more quick, critical terms you absolutely need to know, BATNA and ZOPA. BATNA stands for Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement. In plain English, it's your backup plan. If you're a startup founder with only 2 months of cash left in the bank, your BATNA is incredibly weak. But if you have 3 other VCs lining up to offer you money, your BATNA is incredibly strong. Knowing your backup plan gives you the leverage to either wag your tail or just walk away completely. And ZOPA? That's just the zone of possible agreement, the logical overlap where a deal actually works out for both sides.
Okay, as we near the end, let's tie all of this together into a long-term roadmap. We call this the 3-box approach, and it's a brilliant framework for mapping out your future. Box 1 is the present. This is where you optimize your current skills and just do your daily job really well. Box 3 is the future, that big, crazy 10-year goal like becoming a CEO or founding a unicorn startup. But the real magic? That happens in Box 2, the past. To ever reach Box 3, you have to actively forget outdated habits and challenge your current assumptions. You literally have to unlearn the muscles that made you successful yesterday so you can build the muscles you need for tomorrow. पुरानी आदतों को छोड़ना पड़ेगा तभी आगे बढ़ोगे.
So if you're in that 18 to 20 age bracket, here is your ultimate checklist. First, define what success and happiness actually mean to you personally. Please don't waste your life chasing someone else's dream. Second, invest in continuous upskilling so you don't hit a wall mid-career. Third, for that big Box 3 goal, find out exactly who the decision makers are. If you want to be CEO one day, who actually hires the CEO? Figure it out and get in front of them. And finally, force yourself into uncomfortable situations where you have to adapt. Because remember, running fast only matters if you actually know which direction you're running.
I want to leave you with this final, slightly provocative thought. What exactly is your Box 3? And what assumption are you actively challenging today to reach it? Seriously, take a moment after this, write it down, and start building your career capital right now. Dosto, thank you so much for joining me in this explainer today. I really hope these Harvard frameworks empower you to take absolute control of your future. Follow for more.